Today did not start well. Today I had trouble finding my key. This is the key to this little Toyota I'm driving right now. And the problem is the key can't go on a keychain because it's broke. So this thing likes to hide from me. And so I'm fussing and fuming, trying to get here, and I'm trying to find the key. So I finally find it, have it in my hand, I've got all my stuff, and I'm going out the door, and I'm almost to my car when it slipped out of my hand and seemed to vanish. Now, on Sunday morning, there are about two things you should not do. Do not get between me and Trinity Church when I'm trying to get here as fast as I can to do what I do. And so the key broke that rule. And so there was a very fussy moment. I mean, I couldn't find the key. I looked in my cup. It was not there. It was not on the ground. I had that long trench coat on, and where'd it go? So I pulled off the coat and was shaking. Nothing. So I've been going inside, and I'm fussing and fuming, and poor Deborah. So I threw it down, got my jacket off the rack to ride the scooter over. And she comes out and says, "Here, it's the key." Now look, there are lots of people missing this morning who couldn't find the key. There are lots of people in the Old Testament who could not find the key. They couldn't find their way to God. This is going in my pocket, hopefully. So when I need it again, it will be there. Or there will be more screaming. The people living in darkness have seen a great light. And what that's about is figuring out where the key is. Figuring out how to get back to God. And the people, many of the people in ancient Israel could not find it. They could not find the light of Christ. And today and in Christmas Eve, the light of Christ is coming to us so we can find our way back to God. And it's, you know, when you have one of those really frustrating moments when something little like a missing key kind of starts to wreck your day, think about the light of Christ. Think about the light breaking into the darkness and reconnecting you with God. And it'll help you calm down. On Thursday night, we're going to do a lot of singing. And we're going to be singing about Bethlehem. An insignificant little town in a backwater province of the Roman Empire. O little town of Bethlehem, how still we see thee lie. Above thy deep and dreamless sleep, the silent stars go by. Now that was written in 1868 by Phillips Brooks, who was then rector of Trinity Episcopal Church in Boston. And he had just gotten back from a pilgrimage to the Holy Land. And what he's writing about is this little insignificant town that seems to be so important in the history of Israel. That somehow is a connection to the light of Christ. That it's somehow a connection with God. And you know, think of that car key. It's an insignificant piece of metal until you need it. Right? And Jesus was born in an equally insignificant place. But it's the fulfillment of prophecy. As it says in Micah, "You, Bethlehem Ephrathah, though you are small among the clans of Judah, out of you will come for me one who will be ruler over Israel, whose origins are from of old, from ancient times. He will stand and shepherd his flock in the strength of the Lord, in the majesty of the name of the Lord his God. And he will live securely, for then his greatness will reach to the ends of the earth." And then it says, "And he will be their peace." And when you can't find that silly piece of metal, that's what you want, isn't it? If you find it, you will have peace. And if people find Christ, they will find peace. Now, does it help to understand that Bethlehem is a Hebrew word that means house of bread? House of bread. And so the bread of life. The bread of all life is born in the house of bread. Now that makes sense, doesn't it? That makes lots of sense. And yet, on the outside, Bethlehem just looks so utterly insignificant. And so what the Word God is trying to teach us is God can use the insignificant, the unimportant, to fulfill His will. He can use you and me for great things. Comedian Robert Lee has put this in a kind of a fun way. He says, Christianity is filled with paradoxes. The Israelites expected a Messiah who would be a warrior and king, and what they got was a carpenter. And you just don't generally expect the guy hanging your kitchen cabinets to save the world. I kind of like that. I kind of like that. The Bethlehem is like that. You just don't expect salvation to come out of this place. Yeah, the newspaper keeps telling us it's coming out of Washington, isn't it? Yeah, salvation is coming out of D.C. And they're going to save us, probably by taking a vote. But it doesn't seem to work that way, does it? And so maybe this snowstorm that's going on the East Coast right now, this blizzard that they're having, is a sign of who's really in charge. I saw the photograph from I-95 on the news last night, and it just shows this line of trucks not moving, just completely immobile. God can use an insignificant backwater crossroads like Bethlehem to fulfill divine purposes. And throughout sacred history, He has used Bethlehem. He's used Bethlehem a lot. Now, as consumers in America, we don't tend to think beyond the moment. You know, it's what do I want? What do I want to buy? Who do I want to buy it for? And then the only consequence of that is that maybe on Monday morning there's a little blip in somebody's graph. But as Christians, you have to think beyond the immediate, that we're part of something bigger, part of a bigger story. We're bigger than Walmart. We're bigger than Target.